Okay, guys, it's Shredderville time, and that means I gotta let my hair down, right? Because this is the Shredder guitar video, the Shredder lessons video. So this is the fourth session, and my hair's all jacked because it's been in a tie. So I'm gonna tie this thing back up, or else it's gonna get wild in here, and we can't let it get too wild. So we'll get it back up, and then we'll get going with the lessons. So this is gonna be a cool lesson, because this guitar lesson is the fourth in a series for electric guitar guys. But I'm going to play it. This is the classical guitar, so it's a little different. You might be asking, like, hey Bo, why are you using the classical guitar now to teach the electric guitar shredder lessons? Well, this is why. It's because we're going to work on some just different technique today that's going to help your playing. So when you're playing electric too, it'll help. And there's going to be some things you can transfer over. But if you know anything about electric guitar playing nowadays, especially like heavy guitar playing, they use a lot of kind of classical ideas in it. And I made it popular 30 years ago, but don't tell anybody that I did. Okay, that's just between you and I. That I was probably the one that made that famous. But anyway, just joking. But it's become quite popular to kind of incorporate some of the classical styles with the metal style too. So of course, guys like Yngwie Malmsteen play electric, but they don't play classical style. So classical style is different, and I'll kind of play a little for you and then let you guys see how that works. Let me kind of get there we go, more like that, so you can see what happens. But classical, you can see I'm playing different. My hands are different. So classical has a different style to it. Thanks, Scott, for liking it so much, man. Scott's been with me the whole journey, the whole guitar journey, and he is an awesome guitar player himself. But in electric guitar, like if you want to get better at soloing, there's sometimes some cool classical things that you can learn to help your fingers and dexterity and stuff like that I learned in classical music. So, but and the ways I can kind of help you guys see kind of the bridge between this is we've been working on these arpeggios in electric guitar and kind of string skipping techniques. So we've been working on things that kind of went like this. So they were just little patterns, but like what you can do is you can take a part of like an arpeggio and you can string skip it. And I'll show you how to do it with kind of your fingers, so that and even I can even grab a pick, and I actually have one here thanks to Maria. She hooked me up with some picks because I don't have many picks laying around, but I got a little pick here. I can try to help you guys see this. But if you do, like, say we start here on this A. This is an A. I know you can't see the end of, there it is. But I'm just going to do a little minor arpeggio. So 1, 3, 5, little triad. Now what I'm doing is I'm just playing this 1, 3, 5 of the scale of major, A major. And now I'm skipping this string and I'm going to the first string. And there's the A, there's the 1, and there's the 3. So that's it. So I'm doing a hammer on and a pull off. Hey Charlie, what's up, brother? Hopefully we can chat. It'll be fun. So that's what I'm doing. Now, if you play with a pick, you kind of sweep that, and then you play, instead of playing your pick down there, why not just play your A finger? So I'm plucking. I don't know if you saw that. So that's how you can do it with electric. So in classical, we would just so what you can do to kind of mess around with this little pattern and make it kind of cool is you can do this. Hey, Eric, good seeing you, buddy. Hopefully all's going well with you. And you're in Wisconsin, right? I think that's where you're at. But check this out. When you do the 1-3-5, you hammer on. You can come back to that. Sorry about that. So I'm going to show you this little pattern, because then you can kind of do this. So this is kind of how it will go. 1, 3, 5. Hey Scott, I'm glad the kids are stoked. And you tell those kiddos I said hi. So it's like that. 1, 3, 5. We skip the string because we're working on our string skipping, and we're going to this the one string. And coming back to there. Sorry. So it looks like this. Now check this out. If you're not familiar with playing with your right hand at all, then it's going to seem kind of weird. Hey, Lynn. That's my cousin Lynn. So, but what I'm doing is I'm playing with these fingers on this one string. And I'm playing like I'm holding a pick with this hand. So it's going like this. So in the olden days, when I was growing up as a kid, we didn't know how to do this, and so we would actually have to pick everything. It would be something like that. Where nowadays, I kind of flatten my wrist here so you can see a little better. Did you guys get that? So it's coming like this. So if you want to practice that, you have to get good at using your A, and your A is this one, that one, and your M is, you know, the middle one, right? And then your I is that one. That's the letters. I, M, A. So I know you might be a shredder out there, but you might not even really know how to do this much. You might be like, wow, this is kind of tough, you know? And it might be because you're used to just playing more, you know, that kind of stuff like that, you know. More, you know, just like this, you know, that kind of scale stuff. But this is now when we skip strings, we don't just want to skip strings on scales, but we can learn to do little patterns, triad patterns with string skipping too. So hey, Samantha, tell Paul and everybody I said hi. And hey, Dave Robson, hope you're doing good at work. Or actually, yeah, work at home, right? So, but this is the kind of the trick with this is you want to get good at these fingers so that you can be able to skip strings and have it just flow, just kind of flow where it doesn't sound so staccato-y. So sometimes when you're using a pick, it sounds real, and that's a cool sound. Don't get me wrong, that's awesome. I love Dave's comment. He's sleeping all day. Oh yeah, I bet. So, so when you're playing with your fingers on your right hand, it sounds a little more legato. It can flow a little better, right? So that's why. So we're with the pick. So you can see how different that is when you're able to use your fingers, right? So the cool thing about learning with your fingers is when you play a chord, you're not just playing like this. Say, you're not just playing like that, but you're not playing. So you can see now I'm striking certain strings with these fingers. So you hear the difference? Now hear this one. You can hear that. I'll leave that one out. Now we'll hear it again. Hear that note? I'll leave it out. I'll put it in. So if I was playing just with the pick, right? I was just. It's kind of hard to hear any different. Hey, Jason, it's hard to hear any different when you're just strumming. You know, it's hard to pick up on the special notes. So if I separate them with my fingers. See, now you can hear. I almost need a house beat. But the point is that when you separate the fingers in the right hand, then you'll be able to pick up certain notes that are in maybe the chord that you're playing, but you just have never really heard it before because you've been playing more just that kind of, you've got the pick out, you're just playing. So, to shred, you got to be able to, you don't just want to play with your right hand in one fashion. You want to be able to do other fashions as well. And that's why in string skipping, our little example, that's why we're doing it just with our fingers and not with the pick, because we're trying to get our fingers kind of working. So what I'm doing is I'm playing thumb, my I finger is hitting the next note, and then I'm hitting my A finger on the one, doing the hammer on, coming back with the I finger, then a pull off, and then my thumb. So if you had a pick, your pick's playing this part, and your I and your A and M are playing this one. So you see how that works? It's really cool. So, and hopefully that'll help you kind of develop a little bit of better technique with your right hand. So when you're playing, you're pulling out different notes. And the cool thing about practicing this way with your right hand and just working with your right. And by the way, this is how I used to do it, is I used to just do C and I think I did. Yeah, so I would jump between the B and the C and just do these patterns. Just try different patterns. So you can see, just by doing two chords really up here, then and I'm just doing different patterns and just practicing that idea. And you can if you have a pick and you're like Jason Orm, who plays a lot of times with a pick, you know, you can just work on this. So hopefully you can see that I'm just playing the bass note with the pick, and then I'm using my A and my M to kind of go about that. A lot of times we don't use, you know, you can use the pinky, and some guys do use it quite a bit. In classical, we never really used it much, but we do on certain things. But you know, if you want to incorporate that pinky in kind of those little basic patterns, you can. But this is all going to help your dexterity. So, so that string skipping technique is really cool. I use it in some like prog pieces that I've written. So it's kind of cool. So just as you do your string skipping of like little octave patterns, so you can do the same with different triad patterns, these 1, 3, 5 patterns. Skipping strings, using your right hand to, instead of staccatoing every note with a pick, you can make it more legato, make it more flowy if you're able to utilize these hands. The way you do it is just keep it real simple, practice just up here, you know, just simple patterns. A lot of people aren't used to using their A, this one. So that's why I'm saying simple. Of course, in classical music, when you play, you know, when you're playing all this stuff, your A's being used all the time. So our A's, the A's going all the time being used. So your A's all the time going on when you're learning classical, but a lot of times in electric, you're just not. It's not so much. So you got to kind of start somewhere, right? And so it's good just to, you know, start with little things. You know, sometimes it's these little, I don't know if you guys ever did these octaves. I was teaching the kids just this little, right, chromatic pattern, chromatic scale. Now, but just try, for those that play with picks, just try doing this. Try playing the octaves with your fingers, your M and your A, and then play the bass note with your pick. So try, you know, like let's start here. I don't know, is that getting confused? You guys are like, whoa, what's going on? Sounds like the Twilight Zone. Now this. It might look a little weird over here, but all I'm doing is doing octaves. Now I'm playing with the thumb and I and M there, but if I had the pick like I did, I was using M and my A. So you can work on that and just develop just the ability to get your fingers to actually move in that direction is really cool, man. It's too a little tough at times for sure, but you know, to be able to do have the dexterity is great. And what you can do is you can work on Woo, okay, so that's a gnarly hand workout, right? What I was doing is going back and forth. So that's a tough one. But the thing is if you can work on that and you can develop your hand to be like, woo, going all over the place, right? Getting crazy like that. You guys get it. Woo. Yeah, my hands are already a little poop from that. But you get the idea that what you're trying to do is just work on these kind of repetitions, get your fingers and both fingers working on cool things. So again, when you're playing chord structures, you know, for me, it's like it's fun to just, you know, just play a chord and then just, oh man, I didn't even hear that note before, you know, but watch, oh, all of a sudden you hear it. There you don't, but there, now you do. Isn't that cool? All of a sudden you hit that note. See, you wouldn't know that if you're playing just the chords. Hey, Matt Cuthbertson, crazy exercise for fluidity. That's for sure. And if you're going to play lead fast, and that's really what these sessions are on, is kind of playing quick, then you have to build that fluidity in your playing. You have to get your fingers working at a faster pace. And so just as I was trying to tell you guys, if you can do 6 notes quick in a scale, that's what you want to work on. Just 6 notes. That's all you got to work on, is just. And then we went over the patterns. And just different ways we can play things differently in short bursts. And if we can get those quick, it's good. But we have to have the fluidity. We have to work on being fluid with our hands and having them be mobile. And so to get them to be mobile, and to be able to play a 3-octave scale, right? And to be able to do that through your neck of the guitar, and just like, and just, hey Lee, Mama Lee, how's it going? If in order to play down the scale like that quick, you have to be able to have a fluidity of your fingers. So that's why we're doing this up here. So, but I hope you get my point though when I'm talking about the chords and playing with your right hand in a special way, is because you're going to pull out different notes and it'll be really close to where the chord is. There's your one chord, and all of a sudden you're you're going to play that E, that high E. Which is cool. See, I'm instead of going, it's, I just want those notes. So that's why we play it this way, okay? That's why we want to learn these fingers. So, and the best way you can do that is just by starting now to practice, you know, like what we did with the patterns, with your pick, with these fingers, getting involved in it and stuff like that. It says, Matt says, notice how little Bo moves his fingers, brevity of motion. And that's true. And the reason why I've learned that is because over the years, I'll let you see this part, but my thumb is always anchored in the same spot, and it kind of keeps my fingers in line so that everything's kind of moving. You know, some people have their thumb up here and the next minute it's down there and it's back up there and it's down there. Now I got to tell you guys something really cool, and that is I've always been more of a technical guy growing up playing, but there's no way in the world that I could do what Jason does, or what Joel does, or what Chuck Paulson does, or what Rob Ramos does, or what Scott Simple does, or so many of my friends that have play in bands, you know, and that's because they, you know, their just style is beautiful for what they do. But to play quick, I find that my thumb is kind of the thing that has kept my fingers in a real tight mode, even when I'm playing electric, so that my fingers are real quick. Now, I went and saw Yngwie Malmsteen last year, and I grew up around Yngwie Malmsteen, and Yngwie was, you know, is this guy who's just like this ripper guitar player, and Yngwie is just super quick, super fast. I mean, he was on stage for 2 hours just ripping amazingly fast arpeggio scales. Like I thought he was 19 years old, man. This guy was insane at his age. It was just unreal. But it's amazing how little his movements are. He's just everything was really clean. His thumb just stayed right in the same spot. It's like an anchor, man. It's just cool. So if you find yourself, hey Kevin, hey Robert, if you see yourself kind of coming all over the place, right? If you see your hands coming off and everything like that, or things are tough, look at your thumb. Look at where your thumb is at on the neck, you know, to keep things really close. So these kind of chromatics will help you. Miss you too, Kevin. So when you do this, man, your thumb's got to be anchored in the right spot. Just kind of an anchor for these things. So you can see these hands too, right? So if you're playing with the pick, the reason why I'm not using my M is because I'm thinking, like, what if I'm playing with the pick, right? You know, you're playing your bass notes. So you got to kind of have these things loosed up, you know. So again, the way you can work on these fingers is just by picking 2 chords. It can be anything. You can jump from those. It doesn't matter. And then when you get into weird chords, so you can see how it's a weird chord because look how separated these chords are. I mean, the notes are from each other. They're strings, right? My thumb and my eye are playing those. And then I'm playing my M and my A are playing the first and second strings. Isn't that crazy? So it's like... So anyway, I hope that helps you guys a little bit. We started off with just remember the basic string skipping, and instead of using our pick, instead of doing that, we're doing it more like this. So if you see me playing my electric, the prog music sometimes on my BJO site, like I'll be playing like this, but I'll be doing this. I'll be playing with these. So I'll be utilizing those fingers just to kind of, because it kind of has a flow to it. Again, it's about how you're phrasing the music. So sometimes you want it real dagga dagga dagga, and sometimes you want it boom. Sometimes you want to play a chord and you just want to hear certain notes of the chord. So that's what's cool about classical guitar. I think what I've learned a lot about classical guitar is it kind of just puts out, it makes you just know certain notes, you know, of the chord. Instead of playing the full chord, you're just playing certain ones, you know. Anyway, you get the idea where, I mean, instead of playing full chords, you're just playing little parts of, you know, the chord, the full chord, the full, you know, kind of playing. So to start ripping, you got to start somewhere. And I remember going into my music stores the music store when I was a kid, and seeing older guys than me playing faster, and man, looking at their hands and seeing how they're playing and wondering how they're doing that and things of that nature. And it takes a lot. It really takes a lot to work on your fingers and to get them all doing what your brain is trying to get it to do. But that's a lot of repetition. Start off slow with all this stuff with your right hand, so that you work on it and just keep working slow at slow paces. And then over time, it certainly will get easier. But you just got to start somewhere. So start slow, and then it'll grow into something way cool. So hopefully that was a longer lesson, but it was on the classical. So, you know, I hope that helps out a bunch. So again, classical is cool. Talk to you guys later. Take care.